I just really want to show today the difference between a font and a typeface and injecting those things into a logo or artwork as we do sort of daily as graphic designers. So I am in Adobe Illustrator here. I'm just going to draw some really quick shapes to sort of set us up with, a really kind of basic logo look. And bear with me 1 second. Okay, so here we go. We have something some basic shapes, like I said, that sort of give you a generic logo look. And now I want to add some type. So I would go to my type tool and select a font. This is a House Industries font called Interlock, which does some really cool stuff, and you can really see the font software working here because as you type each character, it gives you a different character based on the next, gives you a different glyph based on the next character. So you can see where that G and I change. Anyway, but I could cycle through, hundreds of different fonts before I sort of land on something that I like or show to a client. But let's go with something simple that everyone knows and has seen many times before. So here's our friend Helvetica Bold. Quickly change the color. Now this is still very much a font. If I wanted to add a character, or if I wanted to change the size or the kerning or any of those sort of aspects here, we can stretch it up and down. If I want to add another line, so this is all the font software working, and that is something that is normally copywritten by the various companies and foundries who create the fonts. But you can do all this stuff in Microsoft Word too, but this is how, these are the many things you can do with a font. You can center it, the paragraph, weight it to the right, weight it to the left. There's all sorts of different things that the font will do for you that, save a lot of time. Now, I want to create artwork from this, or vector artwork more importantly. So what you do is you basically create outlines of this, which is kind of like an auto trace feature, and it removes the font and it creates just these glyphs or artwork. So here we go. There it is. One more time. So you can see the font, the underline, and as soon as I create them, you can see all these various little points popping up, which means it's now flat artwork. I can no longer type in this. I can no longer change the text of it. It is now locked in as vector artwork. I can stretch and go into these points and do some different things that way if I choose. But it is flat artwork. You can cut it. And so this is, just the typeface Helvetica. Okay. It would be no different than this tracing process would be no different than if I had an old sheet of letter set from the 60s and wanted to trace it by hand by pulling various points throughout the Illustrator just has a really great way of doing that for you. So you sort of get the picture. I won't trace every letter in the alphabet, but you sort of get the idea of what that is. Okay. So back here to our artwork, or logo, as it were. Add a little bit of color. And so at this point, I can transfer this file anywhere, and there is no longer an active font here. If I wanted to add a font here, you know, it would have to be a new font. So, but whenever if I sent this to a sign shop or anywhere else in town, a vendor of any sort, the font does not travel with it because there's no font here. It's all just flat artwork, or vector artwork in this case. Okay, so even dragging it into another program, so let's take it into Photoshop. And it's the same case. This is all still static, flat artwork. If I try to type something, it would have to come in as a new font because there is no font in this particular logo. You know, just for font reasons, you could, just for fun, you can, you know, do a lot of different effects and things like that, but it remains, you know, simply flat artwork that doesn't transfer fonts or anything like that whenever it goes out. It is just simply a typeface, and that typeface has now become artwork. So that is a little bit about the process, and that is how we go from A with the design to B to eventually C, where we output the design as artwork. And I just wanted you to sort of understand, you know, that process and the process that we work with as graphic designers every day. I appreciate your time.